All right, welcome back everyone for another deep dive. Today we're going to be tackling something I think we can all relate to on some level, faithfulness.
Hmm.
Um, Specifically, staying true to your partner.
Right.
And get this, our main source is Proverbs 5.1517, and it uses this really vivid image of drinking from your own well to get the point
Yeah.
across.
Wow.
We even pulled a few different translations just to see how they each kind of emphasize purity and devotion within marriage.
Interesting.
But here's the thing that really struck me. The source also acknowledges that no one's immune to temptation.
Yeah.
Like even back then, they knew this was going to be a struggle.
It's so true. And that acknowledgement actually makes the whole conversation about faithfulness feel a lot more real and relatable, would
Okay.
you say? It's not about being superhuman. It's about navigating those very human moments of weakness and choice.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
It makes it feel like you're not alone in this, right?
Exactly.
But okay, before we go any further, I think it's worth asking why is faithfulness considered such a cornerstone of marriage? Like what makes it so vital to a relationship?
Well, think of faithfulness as the bedrock on which trust is built.
No.
It's more than just the absence of infidelity. It's about creating an environment where your partner feels completely safe, knowing they can be vulnerable and open without fear of judgment or betrayal.
Yeah.
That deep sense of security is what allows love to truly deepen and flourish over time.
So it's almost like faithfulness is the soil in which love can grow.
That's a great way to put it.
If the soil's contaminated, it's going to be tough for anything healthy to take root.
Exactly. And that brings us back to that powerful metaphor in Proverbs of drinking from your own well.
Right. I'm curious, how does that imagery help us understand what the Bible is trying to say about marital intimacy? Because it feels like it's hinting at something deeper than just physical satisfaction.
Absolutely. The imagery suggests that intimacy within marriage is meant to be a unique and deeply satisfying experience, both physically and emotionally. It's a source of nourishment and refreshment that's exclusive to the couple, a bond that's strengthened through shared vulnerability and the joy of mutual discovery.
Okay, so we've got this emphasis on faithfulness as this like essential ingredient for a thriving marriage. But like we said, the source material also gets real about temptation being like a universal experience.
Yeah.
Why is that so important for us to remember, especially if we're striving for this ideal of faithfulness?
Because it highlights the fact that staying faithful is an ongoing choice, not a one-time decision you make on your wedding day.
Oh, okay.
It's about recognizing that we're all human, we all have moments of weakness, and that doesn't make us failures.
Yeah.
It simply means we need to be aware of our vulnerabilities and make conscious choices that protect and honor our commitments.
Good.
And the source even quotes 1 Corinthians 10:12, which says, "Let anyone who thinks that they stand firm be careful not to fall."
Whoa. That's a pretty sobering reminder. Why include such a seemingly discouraging statement
Yeah.
alongside a call for faithfulness? It feels a bit like a reality check, doesn't it?
It is. It's a gentle nudge towards humility and vigilance. Even if you feel secure in your commitment, it's crucial to stay aware of potential pitfalls.
Oh,
And one of the things the source highlights is the influence of past experiences and even just the way we perceive others, how that can cloud our judgment and make staying true to our partner even more challenging.
it really resonates with me. I think we all carry some baggage from past relationships or even just from the messages we've absorbed about relationships from society.
Right.
And that can definitely impact how we view faithfulness.
Absolutely.
But how does all of that actually play into our choices in the present?
Well, past experiences, particularly those involving hurt or betrayal, can create emotional scars that make it difficult to fully trust again.
Oh.
For example, if you grew up witnessing infidelity or if you were betrayed in a previous relationship, you might carry insecurities or anxieties that impact your current partnership.
So it's almost like those past experiences create a lens through which you view your current relationship. And sometimes that lens can be a bit distorted, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we live in this hyper-visual world
Oh, yeah.
where we're bombarded with images of seemingly perfect relationships, often filtered and curated to present an unrealistic ideal. It's easy to fall into the trap of comparison, making our own relationships feel inadequate or less exciting.
Right.
And that can be a slippery slope, especially if we don't have a solid foundation of self-worth and a clear understanding of what true intimacy entails.
That makes a lot of sense. And you've touched on something really important, this idea of a hyper-visual world and how that impacts our perceptions of faithfulness.
Yeah.
And think about it. Social media, advertising, movies, they're all constantly feeding us images of what we should desire, who we should be attracted to. How do you even begin to navigate all of that and stay true to your commitment? It feels like a whole different level of challenge than previous generations faced.
It absolutely is. It's like we're constantly being tempted by a buffet of carefully curated images.
Oh, wow.
And it can be tough to distinguish between genuine connection and fleeting attraction fueled by fantasy.
Okay, so we've talked about the biblical foundation of faithfulness,
Yeah.
the inherent challenges we all face,
Mm.
and how our past experiences and this hypervisual world
Hmm.
can complicate things even further.
Absolutely.
But the source material doesn't just leave us with a bunch of warnings.
Right.
It actually offers some really practical tools to help us navigate all of this, right?
Right. One of the most powerful tools is prayer.
Okay, I'm interested to hear more about that. What are the key themes that stood out to you?
Well, it begins with an expression of gratitude for a God who embodies faithfulness.
Okay.
It's like acknowledging that we have a source of strength to draw from, even in our moments of weakness.
Mhm.
Then it moves into humility, recognizing our own limitations and the need for help in staying true to our commitments.
Mhm.
And finally, it shifts to a place of commitment, asking for the grace to find fulfillment within the marriage and actively seeking protection from temptation.
I love how you framed that as like a progression from gratitude to humility to commitment.
Mm.
But how does this translate into our daily lives? What does it actually look like to actively choose faithfulness day in and day out? And how can prayer be a part of that?
Choosing faithfulness is about aligning your thoughts, words, and actions with your commitment.
Okay.
It's about being intentional in how you interact with your partner, how
Yeah.
you respond to challenging situations, and even how you manage your own thoughts and desires. And prayer becomes this incredible resource because it connects you to a source of strength and wisdom that's greater than yourself.
Right.
It allows you to tap into guidance, find comfort in moments of doubt, and renew your commitment on a daily basis.
So it's not just about asking for protection. It's about cultivating a mindset and a heart posture that's aligned with faithfulness.
Exactly.
And the source also talks about setting boundaries, particularly in this hypervisual world.
Yes.
It even quotes Job 1:1, where Job says, I made a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully at a young woman. So in practical terms, what does creating those boundaries look like?
Well, it starts with being mindful of what you allow yourself to see and engage with.
Okay, but what does that look like in real life? I think a lot of people struggle with this because it's so easy to mindlessly scroll through social media or get caught up in a show that's glamorizing infidelity.
Yeah.
What are some concrete examples of boundaries that actually work?
Sure. Let's say you find yourself constantly comparing your relationship to those picture-perfect couples on social media and feeling inadequate.
Right.
A practical boundary might be to limit your social media time or curate your feed to follow accounts that promote healthy relationships and realistic portrayals of marriage. Or maybe you realize that certain TV shows or movies tend to trigger unhealthy desires or make infidelity seem acceptable.
Yeah.
You could choose to watch different content or discuss those themes openly with your partner to process those feelings and reaffirm your commitment to each other.
So it's really about being intentional about what we're consuming and how we're letting it impact our thoughts and emotions.
Mm-hmm.
I love those examples. They're so practical and easy to implement.
Yeah.
Now, another thing the source material emphasizes is the power of affirmations.
Right.
It includes several affirmations related to faithfulness, like, I am committed to finding my fulfillment in my spouse. I will not compare my marriage to others. And I choose to honor the sanctity of my marriage vows. I'm curious, what's the purpose of saying these things out loud? What kind of impact does that have?
Affirmations are a way to reprogram your subconscious mind.
Oh,
When you repeatedly declare these positive statements, you're essentially reinforcing your commitment to faithfulness and creating a mental framework that supports your actions.
so it's like you're training your brain to focus on the positive aspects of your relationship
Exactly.
and reminding yourself of your commitment each time you say them.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Exactly. And that daily reminder can make a huge difference, especially when you're faced with challenging situations.
Okay.
It's like building a mental muscle for faithfulness, strengthening your resolve over time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
It is.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is like building that muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And connecting back to what we were discussing about daily choices, right? How do affirmations fit into that whole idea of actively choosing faithfulness?
That's a great question.
Where?
I mean, are affirmations enough on their own?
Well, affirmations aren't a magic bullet, but they're a powerful tool for aligning your intentions with your actions.
Okay.
When you start your day by declaring your commitment to your spouse and to nurturing your marriage, you're setting a positive tone for the day ahead.
Hmm.
It's like priming your mind to focus on what truly matters and make choices that reflect that commitment.
So it's not just about avoiding temptation.
Right.
It's about actively cultivating an environment where faithfulness can thrive both within yourself and within your relationship. But what are some practical ways to do that? How do we move beyond just saying the words and actually nurture our marriage in a way that supports faithfulness?
One of the most important things you can do is prioritize open and honest communication with your partner.
Okay.
Make time for regular conversations where you can share your thoughts, feelings, and needs with each other.
I think that's where a lot of couples struggle.
Mm.
It's so easy to let communication slip, especially when life gets busy and you're juggling work kids and all the other demands of daily life.
Yeah,
How do we make sure those conversations actually happen?
it's all about being intentional. Schedule regular date nights or carve out time each week to simply connect and talk.
Okay.
And remember, communication isn't just about airing grievances or solving problems.
Right.
It's also about expressing appreciation, sharing dreams, and simply enjoying each other's company.
And even small gestures of affection and appreciation can go a long way, right? I'm thinking of things like leaving little love notes, offering a back rub after a long day, or simply expressing gratitude for the things your partner does.
Absolutely. Those little things show your partner that you're thinking of them and that you value their presence in your life.
Yeah.
They help keep the spark alive and reinforce that sense of connection.
And what about spending quality time together? How important is that for nurturing a marriage and strengthening that bond of faithfulness?
It's absolutely crucial. Shared experiences create lasting memories and help you stay connected on a deeper level.
Hmm.
It's about creating a shared history, a tapestry woven with moments of joy, laughter, and adventure.
I love that analogy of a tapestry.
Yeah.
But practically speaking, how do you ensure those shared experiences actually happen? It's so easy to get stuck in a rut and end up just watching TV every night.
You're right, it takes effort. So be intentional about planning date nights or activities you both enjoy. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy or expensive. Even a simple walk in the park, trying a new recipe together, or attending a local event can create those meaningful moments of connection.
So we've talked about communication, intentional gestures, and quality time.
Yes.
And you mentioned earlier the importance of the spiritual aspect of faithfulness,
Yeah.
especially as it's presented in the source material.
Mm-hmm.
Can you spin on that a bit?
Absolutely. The source emphasizes the importance of prayer as a source of strength and guidance in staying true to your commitments.
Right. It's about acknowledging our own human weaknesses
Yeah.
and seeking help from a higher power.
Exactly. And sometimes that can feel a bit abstract.
Right.
So if you're finding yourself struggling in those moments of temptation or feeling your resolve weaken, what can you actually do?
I was like, how do you actually tap into that divine help when you need it most? What does that look like practically?
Well, first of all, remember that you're not alone. Temptation is a universal human experience, and feeling tempted doesn't make you a bad person or mean your marriage is doomed. It's simply a test of your commitment.
Okay.
And in those moments, prayer can be incredibly powerful.
So what, you just stop and pray right then and there?
Yeah.
Like in the middle of whatever situation you're in?
You can absolutely do that. Just take a moment to pause, breathe deeply, and connect with your faith.
Okay.
Remind yourself of your vows, the love you share with your spouse, and the commitment you've made to nurture your marriage.
And what about seeking support from others? Like, is it okay to talk to friends or family about these struggles? Or does that feel like you're betraying your partner's trust?
That's a great question, and it's important to approach it with sensitivity.
Yeah.
While it's not always appropriate to divulge intimate details of your relationship to others,
Right.
having a trusted mentor, friend, or spiritual advisor can provide invaluable guidance and encouragement.
Okay.
It's about seeking wise counsel from someone who can offer support and accountability.
Yeah. I love that. It takes a village to build a strong and lasting marriage. And it's okay to ask for help along the way.
Yeah.
In fact, it's a sign of strength and self-awareness to recognize when you need support.
Absolutely. Vulnerability is a sign of strength, not weakness. And sometimes having someone outside of your relationship to offer perspective and encouragement can make a world of difference.
So we've covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah.
The biblical foundation of faithfulness, the inherent challenges we all face, the influence of past experiences, and this hyper-visual world we live in,
Mm-hmm.
and the importance of communication, quality time, intentional gestures, and prayer.
And we've talked about the power of affirmations and the importance of seeking support when you need it.
It's been a really rich and insightful deep dive.
It
If you
has.
had to distill all of this down to one key takeaway, what would it be?
For me, the biggest takeaway is that faithfulness is an ongoing journey, not a destination.
Hmm. And that it requires a conscious effort, a willingness to be vulnerable, and a commitment to nurturing both yourself and your relationship.
Exactly. It's a beautiful and challenging commitment that has the power to transform your marriage and your life.
I love that. So as we bring this conversation to a close, what's the one thing you want our listener to walk away with today? What's the message you want to leave them with?
I want them to know that faithfulness is possible, even in a world filled with temptations and distractions. It's a choice we make every single day.
Right.
And with God's help, with the support of loved ones, and with the commitment to nurturing our relationships, we can create marriages that are truly beautiful and enduring.
That's such an encouraging message.
Yeah.
And as we wrap up this deep dive on faithfulness, I'm left with this thought. If faithfulness is a choice we make every day, how can we create an environment, both within ourselves and within our relationships, that makes that choice easier and more joyful? Because ultimately, it's not just about enduring, it's about thriving, right?
That's a brilliant question to ponder, and one I think we could all benefit from exploring. How do we move beyond simply avoiding pitfalls and actually create a culture of love, trust, and respect where faithfulness can flourish?
It's like we're not just trying to survive the storm. We're
Right.
trying to create a haven where love can weather any storm.
Exactly. And that's where the real beauty of faithfulness lies, in that ongoing commitment to nurturing something precious and sacred, creating a space where love can truly deepen and grow.
Yeah, it really is about, it's so much more than just the don'ts of faithfulness, isn't it? It's about
Mhm.
actively cultivating the actions and choices that make a marriage thrive.
Exactly. And I think that's a really empowering way to look at it.
Hmm.
Faithfulness isn't just about resisting temptation. It's about intentionally building something beautiful and strong.
As we've been talking, I've been thinking about how so much of what we've discussed applies not only to romantic relationships, but to any kind of commitment we make to friends, family, even to ourselves.
Right.
It's about showing up consistently and making those choices that honor the connection.
That's a great point. The principles of faithfulness transcend any specific relationship. It's about integrity, loyalty,
Yeah.
and that steadfast commitment to honoring your word.
This has been such a thought-provoking conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today.
It's been my pleasure. It's always inspiring to explore these topics with you.
And to you, our listener, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the beauty of faithfulness. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and feel inspired to create relationships that reflect the love and commitment you hold dear.
Remember, faithfulness is a journey, not a destination. And with God's grace and your own intentional efforts, your relationships can be a testament to the enduring power of love and loyalty.
Until next time, may your relationships be filled with joy, trust, and that unwavering beauty of faithfulness.